welcome back to Coffee Connections. My name is Seth Weiner, and I am your auctioneer. It's freezing outside. I mean, it literally is freezing. That's okay, though. I'm inside. I had a fire last night, my first fire. I also got an air fryer, which, by the way, is a great holiday gift. And I mean, I can go on and on about the air fryer. Last night was eggplant parm. Delicious. But that's not why we're here. We're not here for insights from inside the air fryer. We're here for insights from Innovators, this Coffee Connections. And today, friends, I've got a great guest for you. Let me go ahead and tell you about Kimberlin Bolton with Reimagine Atlanta. Now, since founding the organization in 2014, Reimagine ATL has worked hard to identify the needs of the Atlanta community, listening to stakeholders across the neighborhoods, industries, and organizations. The organization has evolved from a one-off summer camp music video program into a year-round workforce development initiative focused on equipping a new generation of highly skilled storytellers representative of Metro Atlanta. Now, Kimberlin Bolton is definitely a Renaissance woman in the truest sense of the term. As executive director of Reimagine ATL, Bolton has over 10 years of experience in the arts and entertainment industry. While operations manager for the Muddy Water Group, Bolton founded the Muddy Water Rep program, a network for students interested in working in the entertainment industry. Alumni of the program have moved on to become major label artist managers, musicians, music acts, production assistants, bloggers, and filmmakers. Boy, I think there's a lot of similarities in our paths here. In August 2011, she was the personal assistant of the Grammy and Oscar-nominated artist Janelle Monáe. That is pretty amazing. 4 years later, she founded Blue Culture LLC, a creative consulting group. So, folks, it's easy to see that Kimberlin is passionate about building infrastructures that create pathways for more inclusion and diversity within the creative industry. So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the show, Miss Kimberlin Bolton. Hello, hello.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. That was an amazing introduction. Can I take you on the road with me?
Well, I am for hire.
I love that.
Yeah, well, I mean, I can't wait to get into this. But I'm from the music industry myself, and I used to have a internship program and a volunteer program. So when you go to a music festival and you look at the footprint there is always a shimturn, because that was what they were. Shimon presents interns, shimturn. So they are scattered throughout the industry. And so I feel like there's some synergy in what we both have done.
Absolutely, yeah. And isn't it great to just have that help and be able to pour into young people at the same time?
Absolutely, yeah, it is. It is. But before we get there, let's slow things down so we can speed it up, because it's time to talk about coffee. And are you a coffee drinker?
I am. I have to sometimes take breaks, but yes, I am.
All right. So do you have a coffee mug by chance?
I do.
Let's take a look at it here. Let's see this thing.
But this is a mug from my friends at Purpose Possible. They are an amazing consultant company that works directly with nonprofit leaders to help them with fundraising or also strategic planning and things like that. And so I just randomly chose that today.
Oh, that's awesome. This sounds like an interesting organization. Say that name one more time for everyone.
They're called Purpose Possible. And so they're down to help you with all of your needs, whether it's hiring or whether it's mainly fundraising, consulting, and strategic planning. Also, if you need help with diversity and inclusion initiatives, they're there for you as well.
Right on. All right. Well, now when it comes to coffee, are you hot, cold? What's your preference?
I'm a seasonal person. But actually, whatever it is, the fastest way I can drink it. So preferably room temperature, because it goes down faster.
Okay. Now, French press or drip?
Whatever comes out of my coffee maker. Listen, I drink for function, okay? If I could take it in my veins, I would, okay?
Well, actually, there's a new product on the line. No, I'm just kidding.
An IV drip, I'll take it.
Well, all right. So now that we got the coffee out of the way, let's talk about Reimagine Atlanta, ATL. I'm going to go ahead and hand the mic to you. Please tell everyone who you are, your mission, etc.
Yeah, sure. I'm Kimberlin Bolton, Executive Director of Reimagine ATL, and we are essentially an education and workforce development organization geared specifically towards the creative media industry. And what that means is we exist to equip the next generation of storytellers, particularly Gen Z creatives, who are looking to gain career exposure, technical and soft skills training, as well as placement within the film and media industry. And like you said, we provide year-round programming that prepares these young people all the way from ages 11 up until 24, because it's really important to us that we provide workforce development education from beginning to end, as early as planting the seed of career exposure and following them all the way up until they're able to be placed within the workforce. And we do all of this work with the vision of seeing a more safe, inclusive, and equitable workforce within the entire creative media industry.
Wow.
Yeah, it's been really great. And since 2014, we've been able to invest directly in about 5,000 students. We've worked with over 400 teachers, audiovisual teachers within the Metro Atlanta school districts. And we've directly worked with about 50 schools as well.
So now, when you're working with these students in the schools, is this an after school type of program, or is this within the school, like you're going to the school and doing this there, or how's it work?
Yeah, so we have a number of different ways that young people can plug into Reimagine itself. And that's why we work under our 3 strategic initiatives around career exposure, training, and placement. And so our work within the schools is directly related to our career exposure initiatives. So our partnerships with the schools are we implement these media production workshops, and teachers in schools are able to select from a menu of media production workshops that they'd like their students to learn. And they select a handful of students who they think would benefit from this. So anywhere from audio engineering to animation, to post-production, to just virtual effects. Our students within the schools have the opportunity to take this, because a lot of times, teachers need a break, especially now with the pandemic and learning and trying to teach social distancing. So we are able to add supplemental curriculum during the school day, where we can come in and do these hands-on workshops. And then in terms of teacher trainings, we realized that there was a gap where a lot of the audiovisual teachers within the public school system, they were able to invest a lot of money into this new equipment, but they didn't have the training that was required to learn how to operate the equipment and therefore teach the students. And so our own teachers were being asked to come in and train them on the equipment they just invested in, or set up their equipment rooms. And so we decided to work directly with the school system to implement a professional development learning program so that we can directly teach these audiovisual teachers. As you may know, a lot of school districts have these professional learning or professional development days that are required. And so what we've done is we've contacted the school districts and said, instead of teaching these general professional development trainings for your audiovisual teachers, allow us to come in and really train your teachers so that they can teach your students competitively within this industry here in Atlanta.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense. Now, this was founded though before Hollywood came into Atlanta. So how has things changed when Hollywood took over Atlanta, or somewhat took over?
Yeah, it's so funny because I talk about this a lot. I feel like the founding of our organization was very, very prophetic. So in 2014, when our founder, Susanna Specia, created this nonprofit, she honestly built this off of a vision that she had. And it was really, it was less about workforce development and more about trying to figure out how she can bring students of young people of all backgrounds together. And she realized that the best way to create empathy and to bring all types of youth together is through the vehicle of storytelling. She felt like if people could share stories and understand each other's stories, then they could work together and build together. And she realized that the greatest vehicle and tool in order to do this was through cameras and through film. And so she had seen how some other organizations were doing it out in California, and she just used the model and started with that music video summer camp. And that also allowed us to partner with the local entertainment industry and different artists to create music videos for their music. And so that was our first entry point into working in the industry. But it really started as a means to bring young people together from all parts of Atlanta, North Fulton, South Fulton, West Side, Alpharetta, Buckhead, really through the means of storytelling. And so all of the work that we do, all of the training that we do is from a lens of storytelling. We can teach you how to use the cameras. We can teach you how to produce and do post-production. But for us, if you don't know how to tell a story, then we haven't done our jobs.
Interesting. Now that gets me thinking though, I mean, the nonprofit world, I mean, that's like the biggest thing with the videos that every organization is going to do to pitch their fund of need. The storytelling is so key. Now, I'm curious, do you all help other organizations out by doing some video for them?
Absolutely. So last year, when we were in the thick of our workforce development training program, we realized that we kept running up against a bunch of barriers. When we were partnering with the local film industry, we had so many talented students that we were training and that were ready for the industry, but there were many barriers that we had to cross in order to get them employed or get them internships. And one of the things that we are doing is we're working actively to erase a lot of the physical barriers or eliminate a lot of the physical barriers that exist for them, such as transportation, age, socioeconomic status. But as we were connecting with the film industry, there were barriers that existed for our students in terms of age. A lot of our students are high school age, they're teenagers. Right. They're very talented and they're very well trained, but a lot of the film studios would not take them if they were under 18. The other thing is a lot of our students had to have driver's license. I remember one of our teachers literally taking one of our students to the DMV, the DDS to get their driver's license. And then the other one was a reliable form of transportation. Our own students don't always have reliable form of transportation. And so we kind of got frustrated and we said, you know what, we're done begging the local film industry to take on these students that we know are talented, that we know that can create. We're working with Gen Z here. Gen Z does not need our permission to do what they're going to do. And so what we did is we took matters into our own hands and created our own production company, which is a creative agency called Reimagine Productions. And what that allows us to do is partner directly with major brands, companies, nonprofits, foundations, to help them tell their authentic stories. And it's something that we've been able to do successfully with a certain level of integrity. Narrative framing is really important to us as an organization, and we wanted to be able to do that with other organizations and other companies, especially as it pertains to youth, authentic youth voice. And so by partnering with nonprofits, large companies, brands, we're able to work with them to produce authentic storytelling content, but they are also directly investing in this next generation of talent by hiring us so that we can hire our students who have been trained through our programs.
Well, that's really incredible. Folks, you can go to reimagineatl.com to learn more about this. But how have things changed during, I mean, this is the question everyone asks, right? Like, I mean, but how did you all deal with this pivot for yourself? What was your pivot like?
Yeah, I am just so grateful. And I realized, today on December 1st, like we have almost made it through the year. This has actually been a really great year for us. And I still have no idea how, but I'm just in awe of the way we've been able to thrive as an organization during such a challenging time. And I really owe that to my entire team. I think we've throughout the years, because we're young, being young has been an advantage to us. Like I said, our organization was founded in 2014. And even though it wasn't long ago, at that time, it wasn't cool. It wasn't popular to start or found a nonprofit organization like it is now. Now, the expectation is if you want to solve a problem, you start a social impact organization or you start a nonprofit. But when Reimagine was first founded, that, we were looked down upon. We were, we were frowned upon. People didn't believe that we were old enough or we had been around long enough to deserve the funding that we needed or to do the programming that we needed. And so, now with the pandemic, I think our youth has worked to our advantage, because we function like a startup. So we can see issues coming and we can pivot very quickly. And so my entire team, they've done a really great job since the beginning of looking around and saying, okay, what are the tools at our disposal that we can use? So for instance, when we were first impacted by the pandemic, our entire team was supposed to go out to South by Southwest EDU and present on our workshops that we were doing within the schools. And so we were supposed to fly out on Monday, and we found out Friday evening at 5 o'clock that it was canceled. So that was the first way that we were directly impacted.
Yeah.
And we had to quickly figure out what we were going to do and how we were going to continue to still present this workshop. The other thing that was really important was we were in the middle of our Film Fellowship, which is our flagship program for Reimagine ATL. It's called the No Comment Film Fellowship Program, and it's a year-long program where students learn how to write, produce, and pitch their own works. It's divided into 2 semesters. The first semester is documentary, and the second semester is narrative short. And the thing is that during the pandemic in March, we had a cohort who was already in the middle of producing their documentaries. And so imagine these young people going from meeting once a week and really developing these strong bonds and relationships, and all of a sudden they have to convert online. And one of the mandates that I gave to my team when we decided to pivot our programming is I said, whatever we do, it cannot be a stopgap situation. It cannot be a temporary Band-Aid. Whatever changes and pivots we make need to be in alignment with our strategic plan for scale, because we have a huge opportunity to scale digitally and virtually with all of our programming. So we took a moment to take a beat. Our team researched best practices. They met with educators who are research scientists. They talked to our students, because we realized a lot of our students were having anxiety and depression from being online. And they really tried their best to replicate an in-person experience. And so it took a few weeks and probably a month for us to really figure out what we were going to do. And then we invested in it as if, we may not ever come back. And what that did was allow us to scale digitally so we can create these trainings, not just for Atlanta, but anyone who wants to be a part of the work that we're doing.
That's awesome. Now, that leads me to wonder, I mean, it is Reimagine/ATL. Is there plans to expand outside of Atlanta? And if so, are you going to keep the ATL, or will it be, whatever else the city is?
We get this question so much. And I feel like, I think I did an interview last week and they asked the same thing. But I always say my answer right now is we have to win Atlanta first. Mm-hmm. And what that means is, we've been around for a little while now. But when it comes to workforce development and really placing our young people in jobs that exist here, for us, winning Atlanta means, you mentioned the film industry taking over here in Georgia. Well, Georgia has been the #1 filming location in the world for a little while prior to the pandemic. However, companies were coming here and filming, but they were leaving. So we were more like a production town, a production state, not necessarily a content development state. And so winning Atlanta means we have the next creators. We have the next Tyler Perrys. We are building the next Ava DuVernay here in Atlanta, so that when productions come, they don't have to leave, they can stay here. And so really building a sustainable ecosystem for the creative media industry. We also do say that we are equipping the next generation of global storytellers. So after we win Atlanta, they can go out to the world and, continue to tell the stories and represent, this amazing city.
Mm-hmm. Oh man, that's so fascinating, and it's great though that you did choose to focus on that Generation Z to be able to bring them up, and that you weren't just focusing on the high school or later high school kids, and so that is great. Now, it costs money to do all this, and I imagine the gear and everything else, not just the teachers and whatnot. Where do you get your primary funding? Is it individual donation? Is it through foundations, or is it through grant writing? What's it take?
Yeah, I'm actually very proud to say that our our funding mechanisms are very well distributed for a nonprofit organization of our size and our age.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. So we have corporate sponsorships. So like Warner Media is a huge partner of ours. Our No Comment Film Fellowship is powered by Warner Media. We also have corporate sponsorships from MailChimp and a lot of the companies within the creative industry. Over the years, they have invested directly in us because they believe in the work that we're doing and they believe in building out this pipeline. Another huge supporter of ours is the Arthur and Blank Family Foundation.
Wonderful.
They have been supporting us for many years around our workforce development initiatives, particularly for this industry. And then we also have our individual donors who we rely on to just continue to pour into our students and invest as well.
And it's Giving Tuesday. So, I mean, folks, if you're feeling it right now, go to reimagineatl.com. You could give right there. But also, you have a campaign going on right now, correct?
We do. We have launched our end of the year campaign, and it's a way to directly invest in our students. As you mentioned, it is a very expensive business. I just got a large bill for the equipment we need to invest in for our next cohort. All of our programs, and I forget to mention this, but all of our programs are free. So these students are able to borrow and lend out this very expensive equipment, but it's making them competitive for the film industry. So we loan out laptops, we loan out camera packages, especially as our film fellowship students are working on their individual documentaries. By the end of this month, each student that's gone through our film fellowship, each of the 13 students will have their own individual documentaries that they're producing. Now, we don't unfortunately have 13 camera packages, which is why we're raising money. But they are alternating and they're sharing the equipment. And during the pandemic, we have to take extra precautions to wipe down the equipment and exchange it. But the money that we're raising from the individual campaign is to directly invest so that these students can have the opportunity to learn on this equipment so that they are competitive in the industry, but also when it comes to film school as well.
Yes. Wow. It takes the gear's not cheap. I mean,
it is not.
I know. Wow. So that's great though. And it's a young organization, but has anyone made it famous that's come through it yet?
Not yet, but we have, our students have gone on to work at Disney. They've worked for Adult Swim. They've interned at, formerly Turner, which is Warner Media now. Then we have some of our students. This is the second year that we've been able to track like our college students. And so we've had about 10 of our students who have gone and are going to the top film schools now, the top 3 film schools in the country. And so we have some who are in LA right now. We have one that's at Chapman University, which is the number 3 film school right now. And so we're just so proud to be able to follow them in their careers as they're developing.
Yeah, that's fascinating. And with all the film festivals that take place, are you involved with any? Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say one of our students was in Cobra Kai. I forgot about that. It's on Netflix.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I love it.
Cobra Kai. And some of our students have been on some freeform shows. I keep forgetting.
Yeah. So what about film festivals? Are you all involved at all or benefit from them?
Absolutely. So we have a long-standing partnership with the Atlanta Film Festival. They've been an amazing partner to us with our programming, but also with the different screenings they allow us to have in collaboration with them. This past year in September, we launched the first Gen Z film track. So it was called The Next Generation of Filmmakers Emerge. And we were able to screen the best of the best youth filmmakers here in the city of Metro Atlanta. And so we plan on doing that every year in partnership with them because they don't necessarily have like a next gen film track. And so it's our chance to be able to curate that since we work with so many talented filmmakers throughout this city. And so it's something that, like I said, we continue to do. And, who knows, it may lead to our own film festival as well. And then some of our students we've had, I think, in early 2019, last year, we were a part of the Sundance Film Festival through our partners, Choose ATL and Thea. So we've made our rounds.
That's amazing. Wow, you all have really done a lot in a little amount of time. So that's amazing, and I can only imagine where this organization is going to grow. It's a wonderful organization. Is there anything else you want to share with everyone about Reimagine?
Yes, we are so excited to launch another initiative under our workforce development umbrella and under our placement initiative. It'll be called Emerge, which is our first federally registered apprenticeship training program for the state of Georgia. And this is a huge deal because there's no other federally registered apprenticeship training for the creative industry. This only exists for plumbing or construction or engineering, but there's been nothing to just certify and validate the training that young people are getting beyond schooling. And so we have the opportunity to partner with the Arthur Blank Family Foundation in a national organization called the Alliance for Media, Arts, and Culture to provide this 9-month pilot program where we will take 14 students through a program in which they will be certified in media production, post-production. They will also learn soft skills training. And at the end of the 9-month program, they will be matched directly with an employer in the creative media industry.
Ooh, so I like that. I like that a lot. See, that's the key. I mean, so going back to like, I did this volunteer business and also for music festivals. And that was the thing. It's like, even with the internship, I mean, if you interned with me, we would basically train you how to do everything. I mean, from merchandise to, hospitality, etc. But the key, though, and I've always said this, is when someone gets out of it, I mean, yes, they're on their own and they got to figure it out and utilize the relationships they have. But how wonderful would it be to have the booking agency and the hospitality company and like all these different pieces, the operations team, and for each one of them to just hold one position, paid for someone that's been trained and has come through the program. I mean, of course, they would have to apply and get it, but to me, it makes sense. And I think it's organizations like yours that create these partnerships like that's going to make a stronger future for so many people. It's wonderful.
Yeah, that is really the key to our success, is having those strong partnerships with the industry itself that believe in the work that we're doing. Because I say we can train these students all day, but if the industry, it doesn't want it or is looking for, or we're not training them with the industry in mind and their feedback, then we haven't done it.
Yes, you need to know what they want and where they're going to see. But not only what they want, you're smarter than that. You look down the line and you see what they're gonna want, and so that's where it's at. So that's great. And yeah, I'm excited to see where Reimagine continues to go. And I'll keep my eyes out in Atlanta for the kids with video cameras.
Yes, you'll see them all around. Well, not now, but maybe hopefully early next year when we're back.
All right. Well, as we close things down here, I want to remind everyone to go to reimagineatl.com. It's Giving Tuesday, so please do consider making a donation. And we've got the rest of December is booked. I'm pretty excited. If you go to coffeeconnections.live, you can see all of our upcoming guests, but we always close by asking our guests to recommend a future guest. And I'm wondering if you have someone that you'd recommend for 2021.
I do. I would love to recommend one of my good friends, Kate Hewitt. She is the executive director of 21st Century Leaders, and they are doing some amazing things as well with next gen talent and really doing some awesome leadership development. So I would love to recommend her.
That sounds great and sounds in line with what we're talking about and where our synergies lie. And I have to wrap with you on the side another time about your work with Janelle Monáe and all of the music stuff you did, because this sounds very fascinating.
I have lots of tour bus chronicles.
Yes. And it's not as fun as people think, right?
Oh, no. That's why I transitioned. I'm no longer in my 20s. So.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Yeah. All right. Well, hey, thank you so much for your time today. I wish you all the best, and trucking through 2020. We're only a month away to 2021, where all of a sudden things are going to be perfect, right, and normal, right?
Once the clock strikes midnight, we're all going to go back.
And what are you going to do for New Year's this year?
I haven't thought about it. I haven't really thought about it. And it crossed my mind the other day. I'm a church girl. Like my dad's a pastor. So growing up, I spent all my New Year's Eves in church. And so I don't know what's going to happen this year.
All right.
Not sure. Last year I was at a party. I don't know where I'm going to be. Probably at home watching Mariah Carey drop the ball or something.
Yeah, there you go. All right. Well, hey, thanks so much for your time, folks. We'll see you on Thursday. Thursday, our guest is Zenith Houston with the Posse Foundation. And you know her, or you know that?
I know Posse Foundation. Yeah.
Oh, cool. I'm looking forward to that. And like I said, if you go to our site, you can see all of our guests. We're stacked up with a special guest. We're going to take the last 2 weeks off for Christmas, but we have a special guest, the last one. And the last guest is going to be Santa Hanukkah Harry Claus.
Love it.
Yes. All right. Well, thanks so much, everyone. We'll see you Thursday. Have a great day.
Bye-bye.